Hello friends, let's try to design this drop down component in Figma today, where we'll have this as a component, and if you click on this one, it is actually hiding the content, and by default you will have this as like outlined. When you hover on this one, you see that active border coming out there, and when you click on this one, we'll bring that again out and we'll close that. So let's try to create the same component in Figma. Hey everyone, welcome back. Welcome back to my channel Design with Pramod. Let's do designing together. In today's session, let's try to learn drop-down design in Figma. Now we are into the tool, and first what I'll do, I'll try to have some sample text here. By clicking on T from my keyboard, I'll enable that text tool and I'll have that as a sample text. Alright, so that is our sample text. Let's try to have auto layout on this text too. And let's try to draw an icon that is like a drop down icon for us. So by clicking on P from my keyboard, pen tool will be enabled and I'll draw some simple arrow icon, and that is our icon. And since it is a auto layout, what I'll do, I'll try to drag and drop under this auto layout frame 53. Alright, so and if I stretch this left and right, that is actually not behaving the way we want. What we want to have, we want to stick this text to the left side and we want to shift this icon here somewhere like this one. So what we'll do, we'll try to align this to the left, and you see both are actually under this frame, right? This is auto layout again. Because of that, these two elements are considered as a part of this frame. That is why these two are left aligned. So for that, we have to select these two elements from this auto layout, and we have to apply auto layout on these two. By clicking on Shift A, I'll apply the auto layout again. All right, so and here there are two auto layouts. This is like child auto layout and this is like parent auto layout. So for that, if you see the configuration on this one, right, if you go here and check the properties of that one, you don't have the fill container because it is like a parent frame. And if you go here, you will have the you will have the child frame. For that, you will have that fill container. If you fill that, you see that this is actually stretching till here, but icon is whatever icon we have here, it is not coming to the end. So for that, what we have to do, there is a padding section, right? Between two elements, we have some padding here. That is like by default 10 pixel. If we go manually, all right, that will go somewhere here. Since it is a field, it is not actually coming to the end till here. So what I want to have this icon somewhere here that is like equally padding, right? So left and right padding should be equal. So for that, what I'll do, there is one option called auto. If you see here, right, if you click on that, it should go till here. You see that is actually sticking to the end of this frame. So these two elements are like fixed now. So let's fill with this color that is like white for us right now, and the color should be somewhere around 2 hexadecimals. Whenever you want to have this as a advanced level component, you can actually define different properties to it. For now, we'll go with a simple one. This is just an understanding tutorial, guys, how you create the perfect drop down element. All right, now let's try to style this with some corner radius. All right, so that is like 6 pixel right now, and let's try to have some stroke around this one, and that could be like D. Whenever I use a divided line or borders, right, I always use D, and that is easy to remember, guys. That is why I use D. So we can define different colors later. This is like default state for me now, and let me duplicate this one. And here what I want to have this as like a hover state, and this can be like, here I want to have some primary color defined for this stroke. Whenever I hover on this element, this should be highlighted with some border. So I'll just pick this one right now, and I'll go and duplicate the same item. This variant can be the open state for me. All right, here I want to tilt this icon towards some angle. All right, 90 degrees should be fine. And I want to have some list item below whenever I clicked on this like icon. And let's try to create that component quickly. So I'll have the text again enabled. All right, so that could be item 1. And on this one also, what I want to do, I want to have auto layout. All right, and the height of that item can be like 35 pixel, and that is default right now. And let's go and try to have some variants of this one. All right, this could be, and let's try to create the component for this one. Then by clicking on Command Option K, I'll just create one component. And from here, when I click on this icon, you can actually add a variant of this one, and that should be like hover for me. And let's try to change the color for this one to white. The text color can be 4 hexadecimals, and for this one also I'll have the color to 4 hexadecimals. All right, and let's try to fill this color with white, and let's try to stylize them. And let's check the width of this open state or whatever component we create on this one, and let's have the same size of it. All right, so this is like a list, one list for me. All right, so this is one item here. What is the size we had? 410 pixels. All right, so I'll have this one to 410 pixels width. In similar way, I'll also stretch till here, that is like 410. And since this is auto layout, let's left align that one. All right, so these two are left aligned. I want to have one more variant, that is like active or checked list item. And from here, let's try to round these corners, and that could be like 6 pixels for me. And whenever I have this one, right, item 1, so this is like hover state, and let's change the color to some hover color on this one. Yeah, that should be fine. And whenever this is like checked or selected, right, we should have some check icon here to the right side. So let's try to draw that check icon. Yeah, we have this as a check icon here, and let's have that primary color whatever we have. All right, so that could be this active color, and let's try to drag and drop here. So like you see here, so we have to apply auto layout on these two, and I'll apply the auto layout. And width wise, I'll just go to the fill container, and this one, the padding can be like auto for me. You see that, right? It is actually coming to the end, and we have this as a list item. All right, so this is our component. All right, so let's try to have the instance of it. This is the instance what we have of this component, and let's go and try to duplicate them. All right, so some list items we should have here. So this can be item 2, this can be item 3, and this can be item 4, and so on. All right, so these are the different items what we have. What I'll do, I'll try to select all these together, and I'll apply the auto layout on them too. And the padding between them, I'll just make it as like 1 pixel. And since we have the auto layout on this one, let's try to fill that with some color, and that can be little gray color. All right, and let's try to have some padding left and right to around 10 pixels, and top and bottom to 10 pixels. So we want to have some breathing space here. And let's try to preview this one. Whatever component we created below, that is working properly or not. So I'll just preview by clicking on shift space. In this tutorial or in this session, what I am teaching you guys some shortcuts. Those will be very helpful in your design journey. All right, so since there is no connection for these one, right, so we have to prototype them. All right, so let's go and try to prototype them. So I'll switch to the prototype mode, and for that also we have this shortcut. By clicking on shift E, you can actually shift to prototype mode, and again by clicking on shift E you can go back to the design mode. Let's go back to the prototype mode. Alright, so this is like prototype mode. From here, what I want to have, I want to connect to this item 1 hover state, and that can be like while hovering, and the animation can be smart animate, and that is like ease out, and duration is like 300 milliseconds. And from here, I don't want to have it connected because I want to just showcase what is the active element for me. So I'll just switch from my components variants list in one of the checked item. By that way, developers will understand when you hover on this one, you will get this color. When it is activated, you will get this way. So that way developers can get into the dev mode, and they can actually export this icon and all these properties they will get there. All right, so since we connected, we'll try to check whether that hover is working or not. You see that is actually working the way we wanted. All right, so let's close this one and try to have these grouped under this open state variant. All right, let's try to corner radius this one too, and that could be like 6 pixels again, since we have all the 6 pixels applied on all the different variants. All right, this is like open state, and I'll try to group these two, and I'll apply the auto layout on this frame 57 and open state together. All right, so by clicking on shift A, I'm applying auto layout on them again, and what I'll do, I'll try to reduce this padding, so that could be 2 pixels. So I just want to have some gap here in whatever different backgrounds. If I put this drop down, this should be visible properly. All right, so let's go and try to have some effect on this frame. That is simple drop shadow. All right, so the shadow can be a little more higher. So this is like Y, and let's try to blur this out. So this is looking a little darker here, and let's try to have some 10 pixel blur on that. All right, so that is fine. And now we have 3 different variants of the component. Let's try to rename this to open state. All right, and we have these 3 variants. So let's go and try to select all these 3 variants and try to, somewhere here we have this icon. All right, so this is like component icon, and we have 3 different options here. You can actually create the component, or you can actually create multiple components and create component set. What do I mean by that? So I already have different variants of that component, so that is why I just create the component set. So I'll click on this one, and that actually creates us the component set. And if you click on this one, if you see here, right, this is like a property 1, and that is like component, and we have 3 different states there. All right, one is like default state and hover state and open state. We will rename this to drop down comp. All right, so that will be sitting in our asset. All right, let's try to drag and drop that instance here. All right, so this is the drop down comp what we have created. If you see here, right, we have 3 different variants of that component. So what we'll do, we'll try to drag and drop. Just to preview, we have to always have the frame for this one. So for that, what I'm doing, I'm just trying to draw one rough frame, and that could be this size. All right, so let's try to put that under this frame. If you see here, right, so this is under this drop down component is under this frame 58. All right, so let's try to play this one and check whether that is working or not. And since there is no connections done, so let's try to prototype it. Okay, and we'll go to the prototype mode again by clicking on Shift E, and from here I want to switch to this variant, that is like hover variant for me, and by default the trigger is like on click, so we'll change that to while hovering. When I hover this default state, it should actually give me this active line enabled on that frame or on that variant. All right, so that is how it is going, and wherever I click on this element or this variant, I want to actually open this list item. All right, so I'll just connect from here to here, and while on click, the trigger is like on click. Let's have that same way, and that can be like instant, and instantly it can open, or if you want different animations we can do that. So for now it is okay, and when I click on this arrow, I want to switch back to default state. All right, that is our default state, and the animation type can be instant. All right, so let's go here and preview this one, and by clicking on Shift space bar, I'll just open that preview mode again, and if you see here, right, so it is actually working. You see all the different hover state, everything is working for us, and if I click this back again, it will actually go off. Isn't this easy, guys, to create this drop down component? Alright guys, that is all about drop down design. Hope you have learned something great today. If you do, please hit that like button. Please do share and subscribe. Keep supporting. See you. Bye bye.